we always are looking for the answer outside of us.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's got to be something more that I'm missing.
Right.
But it turns out it's just a bunch of really small things. Becoming a coach was firstly transformational for me. So the particular program I did was pretty intense. It was a year-long program, and it was designed for personal transformation because you can't really like lead someone where you have not gone on your own. I do believe that. I think that was the way that I became aware of what I didn't know before. I mean, that sounds so simple, but I really didn't understand a lot of the concepts that coaching is particularly good at helping one become aware of, and which really hugely is like how you think and how you look, the perspective you have on something.
On today's episode of Empowered in Health, I have Kara Ryska here. And Kara, I am so glad you're here to chat with me today and share your perspective and talk about your journey as a special needs mom, a life coach, and so much more. So thank you again for your time today, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh my goodness. I've just loved already getting the chance to connect with you, Kara. You have such an incredible heart. And you're serving in so many profound ways in the special needs moms community. And that's really what drew me to you. I'm a special needs mom. I'm a women's health coach. You're a special needs mom. You're a life coach. We have a lot of overlap in our passions, in our work, in our day-to-day life, as far as how we're managing our homes and more. And I just feel so grateful to connect. And so I would love to talk a little bit about your personal journey. You know, you've been a life coach, and you also have a special needs son. You have several other kiddos and a house you're managing and all the things. So I'd love for you to share your journey, kind of where you are today, and tell us a little bit more about just what your life has looked like up until this point.
Yes. So I'll try to keep it rather concise because I mean, once I get going, I can just keep on going. So you just let me know when like we've had enough. Let me go all the way back to kind of where my life started to look a lot different than I ever expected that it would. Yeah. So this is, we're going back a while now. So we're going back 14 years to when at the time, my second son was diagnosed with brain cancer.
Yeah.
A massive brain tumor. So boom, like that day will forever clearly be ingrained in my mind as the day that everything changed. And ultimately, through the treatment that he had to endure to deal with the tumor, he became disabled in multiple ways.
Yeah.
So he has visual impairment. He has a lot of hormonal disorders. He has a lot of behavioral impulsivity, like frontal lobe oriented challenges, physical disabilities, and a whole long other list that we won't get into all the details today. So that was a lot.
Yeah.
At the time, I was also pregnant with my third son.
Yeah.
So I was going to have 3 babies under 4.
Wow.
And one that was now not even able to walk anymore. He went in the hospital as a very typical 2-year-old, and he came out not able to walk. Wow. At the time, we didn't know the extent of his visual impairment, but it was pure survival mode.
Wow.
So we were in survival mode, I would say, for years, because, and I look back and, I maybe look typical, but I know on the inside, I was still very much trying to figure out this new life. I think in my mind, it took me probably 5 or 6 years to recognize that my life was never going to look the same.
Yeah.
I think it's like, you just don't know. It's like moving to a foreign land that you don't know anything about. And so I was a little bit hesitant to go. Yeah. I was still trying to get back to the land that I thought I was going to live in forever.
Right.
And so it took me a long time. And part of that, I think, was my own personal development journey and becoming the mom, the woman that I wanted to be able to cope with all of this. I went in not having really a lot of coping skills. I was very under-practiced at really experiencing emotions and allowing the impact of what had happened. So when I was ready to kind of step into something new, for me, I chose life coaching.
Yeah.
And I do look back, and I think I'm like, kind of, what was I even thinking? Like, what? Recently I did realize how I got there.
Yeah.
One of my friends was a Beachbody coach, And so it was this whole thing of I'll go become a coach and like, do the thing. And like, I loved the energy of it.
Yeah.
So that was like my first idea of this concept of coaching, of coming alongside another, in my case, woman, and supporting her and helping her and, giving tools. And I was like, I love this idea. And I failed miserably at the Beachbody coach thing in terms of like, it's not where I thrive in terms of that particular model. But I think then when I got this idea of life coaching, I think that's where I'm like, okay, that'll actually give me actual skills to help somebody.
Yeah.
And never did I ever think that I would coach special needs moms. To me, I was like, I want to coach in business. My previous career was very much in sales and in business fields. And so yet it became very clear that this was the community that I want to say I was designed to serve, that I was uniquely positioned because of my own personal story and the work that I had done, that I am able to fill a need that isn't, that is here in the community. Because at the time when I went in the direction of coaching, there was nothing. There was nothing. There was maybe a couple podcasts, but I couldn't find anything that really was meeting me where I was at to support me with all of these things. And not necessarily the like, how do you have an IEP meeting? Because that you can find that. Yeah. But it was like, how do I like figure out who I am again?
Right.
And how do I like my life again?
Yeah.
How do I grieve the part where this is not the life that I signed up for?
Yeah.
I think when you and I talked before, it's like this, or maybe the episode that you were on my podcast, it was like, this is not the life I prayed for.
Right.
And so that's really where I'm passionate about, is meeting moms where they are and kind of being that glimmer of hope of it doesn't have to stay this way.
Yeah.
You're not alone. And let's do this together. So that's kind of, I don't know, I'm going all over the place now. I don't know where we started. So let me know what I missed.
No, you touched on so many good things. And to side note, I also started as a Beachbody coach / body coach. And so I
thought I read that somewhere. I was like, oh, I think you did.
Yeah. I love that. I love that was kind of your first introduction of what coaching could look like, or how you could come alongside people, or how you could just be a part of something larger of really supporting women in a very intentional way. And, you spoke so much about a couple different things that I like take to heart. And I know this is a really profound thing for women. And it's just this concept of like really getting grounded in recognizing what you feel when your life maybe doesn't look the way you thought it would, right? Or if it's different than what you prayed over. And I think that's a real realization in motherhood, especially when you're navigating special needs, especially when you have a child with a diagnosis. You have these different layers of how your life really unfolds, and it can feel so jarring when it's so far away from what you really thought or dreamed up. And so I really appreciate that you kind of talked through that, Kara, because that's very real for women. I know I talk to women all the time who are trying to manage that mental battle. And I'm sure you do in your life coaching work too. Like women hold ourselves to these incredible expectations, and we have these dreams and ideas of how things could look or should look. And when it doesn't go to plan, which 99.9% of the time it doesn't, we internalize it all. And it's something that we end up putting into our identity in some capacity. And so it's so important to really talk through these different things that we experience and normalize the feelings that come up along the way. And then just talk about what are we really doing to get to a place of feeling good from the inside out and taking care of ourselves. Or like you said, get back to a place of really liking my life again, or enjoying where I'm at, and really coming to terms with, the season that I'm in. And so you've really talked about the evolution of what you've gone through, Kara. And it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. Like, you have gone through a lot as a woman, as a mom, as a parent. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about, in that piece to the puzzle for you, mentally and emotionally, when you think about everything that you've gone through, what are the things that have really helped you get back to a place of, I feel okay in my life again, and I feel like I'm working my way into enjoying the day to day? Like, what were those things that you started to dive into and really help yourself with?
Great question. And there are so many, and here's the thing is, I think it's so many little things.
Yeah.
It's not one big thing. And I think that, we always are looking for the answer outside of us.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's got to be something more that I'm missing.
Right.
But it turns out it's just a bunch of really small things.
Yeah.
And so, I mentioned becoming a coach was firstly transformational for me. So the particular program I did was pretty intense. It was a year-long program, and it was designed for personal transformation because you can't really like lead someone where you have not gone on your own. I do believe that.
Yep.
And so I think that was the way that I became aware of what I didn't know before. Like, I mean, that sounds so simple, but I really didn't understand a lot of the concepts that coaching is particularly good at helping one become aware of, and which really hugely is like how you think and how you look, the perspective you have on something.
Yeah.
Also, who you believe you are. And so in the language that I use often, we look at kind of do two different ways that we can kind of show up. So one being described as showing up in our survival mechanism.
Yep.
And one being described as our essence. Now, I want to be clear. It's easy to be like, oh, there's a good way and there's a bad way. And that is not the point here.
Yeah.
The point is recognizing from where we're showing up, who we're being. It's another way of saying it. And then being able to be a choice. Now, because survival mechanism, especially in my world, in special needs mom world, is essential.
Yeah.
It is the gift that we have that certain parts of us shut down or self-protect when we're going through crisis.
Yeah.
So that's why this is not a bad thing. But when it starts to be the thing that's the tool that's overused, it becomes limiting.
Yeah.
And so when we really kind of look at the two different ways of being as, kind of this contrast, then it gives us the opportunity to, again, make these observations, but also to be then at choice. Rather than our life happening to us, we get to kind of get back in the driver's seat and be able to decide what we want to do, what we want it to look like, where we want to ask for help or not. And even just that shift from feeling so powerless to kind of feeling like you are driving again, in other words, feeling powerful, that itself, oh, it's gold, right? Because I think so much of the experience of a diagnosis is you lose all the choice that you thought you had. You lose power. And then we start to feel stuck. And I find, I don't know about you, feeling stuck is like a really unpleasant feeling.
Yes.
And a lot of us feel a lot of stuck a lot of time.
Yep.
Particularly, it's like I even think of just little times where I'd have to schedule a surgery or do something and navigating the medical system. And gosh dang it, that will trigger me.
Yeah. Yes.
Like you wouldn't believe.
I know.
Because it pushes on me feeling like I'm powerless.
Yeah.
And so I've done a lot of work around that. But back to the topic of what have I done to like, what has helped? And so clearly coaching has helped me. So both becoming a coach personally, but also being coach, right? Like I've had a lot of coaching and in different types of coaching. So, I won't go into all the details, but there's a lot of different types of coaches. There's some so my training is in ontological coaching. It's about who we're being. Then I have a coach who is a tapping coach. I don't know if you're familiar with EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique.
You told me a little bit about it. I have never done it, but I've heard such amazing things.
You're going to love it. Yeah. So I have a coach who coaches me in that. And it's kind of I don't know, it's not hugely known yet, but I feel like it's a cross between therapy and acupuncture and coaching. Like it's a really interesting combination. And I really love it. And so that is really, really helpful. I feel like what's helped along the way also is re-identifying who I am. Yeah. And so I think what happens as, again, I'm looking through this lens of getting kind of a diagnosis or kind of getting this life that we did not ask for. Yeah. We lose who we thought we were. Like I thought I was going to be a mom that my 4 children went backpacking together. Yeah. Like I really did. That is not something our family can do together. Yeah. And so I'm not a mom who goes backpacking with her children. I'm barely even a mom that can go camping with her children. Yeah. And And so there's these pieces of my identity that I thought would very much be there, and they are not. So who we thought we were gets stripped away, gets pulled away from us. And we kind of land in, okay, well, now I'm a medical mom. Okay. Didn't really want that one.
Yeah.
And without rebuilding who we are in a way that we actually love, then I think that's this critical piece, right? So I feel like I've gotten to re-identify, rebuild who I am in a way that I like. Like, I love business. I love podcasting. I love coaching. I love being a dog mommy.
Yeah.
I like look at my dog. I'm like, she's really not that cute, but I really am that mom that person who's like, look at my dog. She's so cute. And people are like, I don't really care about your dog, but I can't help it.
Yeah.
Okay. But you get the point, right? Like being able to have an identity that I like. So that has really helped.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm very experimental. And so, like I've mentioned, this tapping thing, right? Like I have a whole other handful of like little things that help me along the way. And so I try a lot of things, and some of them work and some of them don't. Yeah. But I feel like I have the belief, because I have all these little experiences, that I'll be able to get the support I need. I'll be able to support my nervous system. Therapy is another great one, right? Like having a therapist who can hold the space for you that you need. And I say it that way in particular because not all therapists are created alike.
Yeah.
You know, there's different personalities. And I hate to say it, but a lot of therapists really aren't that good. Yeah. I really hate to say it that way, but I think it's important to acknowledge that, because my personal experiences, the first therapist I went to was really bad.
Wow.
And if I walked away from that and be like, okay, well, therapy won't work for me, then that would have been a real bummer. Yeah. But I continued to try. And even the next therapist I had on a long-term basis was good, but had certain limitations when it came to the things I was sharing about my son. Yeah. In particular, my sons can be violent. And that totally triggered my therapist. Like, not like she was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what to do, but she went into fixing mode. Yeah. So she went from therapist holding space for me and processing my emotions and giving me what I wanted and needed, to trying to fix a situation for me. Yeah. And I didn't need her to do that. Like, if it was a fixable situation, I would have figured it out. Yeah. And so I say that because she was really good in certain areas. And I'm so glad that I engaged with her and had the support from her at the time that I did. But that also was telling me, okay, it's time to find somebody who can hold space for the next level of the work that you're doing. Yeah. And sure enough, the therapist I have now is just very gifted at that, and helping me go to these places in my emotional areas that they are not easy to go to alone. Yeah. And so I guess that'll be the last thing I say is, what has really helped is not doing it alone. Yeah. I think so many of us think, oh, we should be able to do this on our own. We don't think it is so much as consciously, but I find that if I'm left unchecked, I'll start to think things like, what's wrong with me, when I start to kind of go to these darker places. And then when I have conversations with people sharing what I'm experiencing, sure enough, nothing's wrong with me. Yeah. I'm just, having emotions, having thoughts. It's very common to go to places of shame or kind of that self-critique after trauma. Yeah. So not doing it alone allows me to get out of my own head and to really get that support by being with another human being that is essential. Like, we can't do it on our own.
So good, Kara. So good. And the thing that I appreciate you talking about the most is kind of twofold. The first is this concept of the mindset switch, where you have to really go from life is happening to me versus life is happening for me, right? And as life is happening for us, what clues are we picking up on? How can we continue to evolve into the next thing that we maybe need on our journey? And the second thing that I appreciate is you're externalizing the mental and emotional journey of wellness for us as women, for us as special needs moms, and really talking about what that journey can look like tangibly. and how we have to be willing to say, you know, maybe this is a fit, maybe this isn't a fit. What do I really truly need? You're talking about a team of support that you have. And this is one of the most profound things that I've learned. And what I want to really drill down on today is really speaking to women who are listening to this to understand that when Kara says we don't do this alone, that really is this idea of understanding the concept of building a team, that there are experts in different areas of our lives that can help us with different things. And there are coaches that do different kinds of work. And there is likely going to be a time where there is this evolution inside of where you're at on your wellness journey or on your mental health journey or whatever it is, where you have to really get honest about whether or not something is really serving you or whether or not it is a fit. And I know that's been my journey too, along therapies, et cetera. I've gotten to places where I've decided, you know, something maybe isn't a fit, or this doesn't fill the need that I have anymore, or I can feel myself evolving and I'm looking for this next level of support and coaching. Like, that's really powerful and the reality of the mental and emotional piece when it comes to support. And so I just appreciate you externalizing that and talking about that journey you've gone through, because this is the real deal as far as building and crafting that support system, for sure.
Definitely. One thing I want to say about support and women, and this is particularly, you know, like we're in the United States of America. So I'm really looking at our culture and the normalization of the experience most women are having, which that is overworked,
yep,
undersupported, a little bit resentful,
yeah,
and all the things. I'll leave it simple. But that is almost the expectation. And so here's why this gets really, really important and interesting. When we as women have the audacity to get the support that we need, we are going to feel like we're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
We are going to have little like flags going off in our brain saying, abort mission, this is too much. Who do you think you are? And we're going to want to turn back and go hang back with the crowd of women that is suffering, probably not in silence, because some of us like to talk, but it's like not thrilled.
Yeah.
And I remember I had this distinct moment. This is years ago now, but I had an incredible nanny. She's actually the editor of my podcast now. So we've evolved our relationship.
That's awesome.
But I had this incredible nanny. I was going to work. My kids were fully supported. It just like was this moment where I'm like, both feeling, wow, like this doesn't feel like hard. This doesn't feel like I'm stressed out. And then immediately I had this thought of, what am I doing wrong? Yeah. Why isn't everybody else doing this? Like I was like, wait, I've got to be missing something.
Yeah.
If I'm doing this thing and nobody else is, and like, it's kind of great. Like I really was like, this is a really interesting feeling. And so I think it's important we talk about this because or even like, actually there's this other podcast I was listening to. I can't remember the name of it right now, but, I do. I want to give her credit. It was called The Lazy Genius. Have you listened to,
I have not.
I think it's Kendra Adachi is her name, but she has a great podcast and it's very, oriented towards women. It's one I would recommend. And she was kind of calling us out on like, you don't have to like, so when we want to show up authentically, there's this narrative of like, if your house is clean and tidy, then you're not being authentic because it's like everyone needs to like see your messy side or something like that. She's like, no, some of us actually have clean houses and that's authentic to us.
Yep.
And like, she was kind of calling it out in a way. I'm like, I love that because here's the deal. I like my house clean.
Yeah.
And I happen to be able to generally keep it clean. Now, I have 4 kids, so I mean, I'm no perfectionist, let's put it that way. But it is really important to me. It's how I feel best in my home. Yeah. And so that is something where I love that she kind of called out like, no, like if you have a put together house and you're kind of managing that, like you don't have to go like feel like you're inauthentic. And I was like, that is such an interesting point to put out there because I feel like there's all these little like unspoken rules that we're supposed to follow as women. And I'm here to break them, basically, is the theme here.
So good. And I'm glad you are here to break them, because again, we need to have these conversations where we're just bringing up the conditioning, the narratives, the things that we've somehow told ourselves we are supposed to do in order to, fill some expectation or fit into some societal norm or whatever it is that we've told ourselves. And the idea of how do we step into just really being and sitting in our true authentic selves, like that's so powerful, so important for women to remember. And I love that you're speaking on that, because I think it's so easy for us to get into that place of kind of shying away from doing that or not really stepping fully into that for all kinds of different reasons. Kara, I'm curious, in your life coaching work that you do and the women that you speak to, I know you speak to women in all different capacities. You serve the special needs moms community and things like that. Is there a specific thing that you feel like comes up often in your conversations around this idea of authenticity, where women feel like they can't fully express themselves in some way for some reason, or they can't reach out for support because that means X, Y, Z in their life? Or, I'd be curious what you've maybe come up against or what you've uncovered in some of your conversations with women.
Yeah. When I think about authenticity and the population that I have this inside kind of backdoor intimate view of, I think that so many of the thoughts, fears, experiences that moms have are what they perceive to be unacceptable.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the things that's most powerful about having the space that I have created for us as special needs moms to be in community, is that there's a space where they can be transparent and they can say the thing they're actually thinking. They can feel the thing they're actually feeling. They're not going to be judged or told that they're wrong.
Yeah.
There was this woman that came to me. She actually came, just in conversation through Instagram. And she asked me, I'm trying to think of the words, but basically, am I wrong for thinking that my son's more of a burden than he is a blessing?
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that she came and asked the question, that she had the courage to put voice to the thing that was like deeply impacting her heart. And so we went back and forth in conversation. And I think my direct answer would be, no, absolutely not. You're not wrong for thinking anything at all.
Yeah.
Because guess what? What you think is only what you think. That's all.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean anything about you until we make it. Yeah. Now, in this particular case, her husband was telling her that she was wrong for thinking that.
Wow.
And so she was struggling, because here she has her husband saying you're wrong for thinking that. But she also was pushing back, because she said also, he's not here every day, all day.
Yeah.
I was like, exactly. And so for her to be struggling with not just, it's so that what happens is we have these really hard things. Like, I'm going to just say, it's really hard to do a lot of the things we do with our children.
Yeah.
I know your son has seizures. It is really hard to watch your son struggle in any way. So to say that you're wrong for not wanting that for him, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So we have these authentic feelings, and then what we do is we judge them.
Yep.
And we say that they're not okay.
Yep.
And earlier we were talking about feeling stuck. Oh, that is going to be the most stuck you ever felt, because you're not going to just feel stuck. You're going to feel judged. You're going to feel wrong. You're going to feel shame. And those are very heavy feelings on top of already really hard.
Yeah.
And so I think if we can give ourselves the space to be authentic in a space of compassion, curiosity, without judgment, then I think that gives us the opportunity to grieve the parts of our lives that we don't like. Because guess what? This woman, I guarantee she madly loves her son. Guarantee it.
Yeah.
But I guarantee she also really hates parts of her life that are really hard. Like, this is a funny example. Maybe it's too much information, but we're going to go for it.
Go for it.
I was on one of a gastroenterologist. I can never say this doctor's name right. Gastroenterologist.
Yes.
Did I get it right?
Yeah. That's right.
I need to look at it in writing again. Okay. I was on an appointment with my son. We're having a couple issues here and there. And my assignment was to go take a look at his butthole. Now, that would be great if he was 3 and he had a cute little butthole. He's 16. I don't really want to look at his butthole. So guess what? I don't like that part of my life. I will say so. I'm not going to make myself feel bad for that. But no, I do not want to look at his butthole. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So,
oh my
sorry,
goodness.
Levi. Not everybody knows about what we're going to be doing this weekend. No, just kidding. But yeah, so I think that's giving ourselves space to grieve and to laugh at and to be like, this is awful.
Right.
But you know what? I'm not the only one looking at my 16-year-old's butthole.
No.
There's a lot of other moms doing that.
No, you're not. And that's how we can continue to move through all of the things in life that can feel so hard, right?
Yeah,
by just being open and honest about, this is really what we're doing. This is what we have to manage. This is a specific thing that we've been tasked with, and finding a way to make it lighter or make it a little bit humorous in some capacities, or just normalizing that there are pieces that really do feel heavy. Has to be a part of the journey. And if we're not externalizing how that goes internally, I know we've talked about this, Kara, internally, it can become such a disaster for us in so many capacities, for our health, for our brains, and so much more. And so I just appreciate you just being so raw and honest, because this is the depth that women need to hear. Especially when you're managing so much adversity, or if you have really hard challenges that you're working through in your home or with your kids, going through it with other people and talking through it with other people, that is the key. And you talking about building support, that is the key. And it's just been so profound to continue to hear your story, Kara. I love your transparency, my friend. It's so good. It's so good. Before we kind of slowly move into wrap up, I'd love to talk a little bit to the woman who's listening to this, who can kind of relate to some of the things we've been sharing, right? Life feels hard in some ways. Maybe she's managing a diagnosis with her son, her daughter. Maybe there's something in her life that feels really challenging, and she's trying to figure out, how do I start to get into these places, these communities, these therapies, to start to have conversations and normalize building up support and talking about how I feel? Or how do I start to take these steps? What would be the encouragement you would offer to that mom to slowly start to get into these places, because she needs it?
Yeah. What's coming up as you ask, I guess maybe even the way you ask the question, what's coming up to me is just the simple concept of learning to answer your own question.
Yeah.
So you said a couple of times, how do I? And I think often we leave ourselves in this position where it's a little bit like forgetting how much we know, forgetting how much we can do, forgetting the inner wisdom that we have, the instincts, the gut that we have.
Yeah.
And so when we ask questions like, how do I, we're almost looking for somebody else to answer the question for us. And there could be value there, right? Of course, we're talking about community, not doing it. There's of course value there. But if we forget the own wisdom that we have, I think there could be a missing step for us. And so I think what I would say is answer your question. And I asked, actually, this is a common thing that comes up in coaching. So as someone comes to me with a coaching request, I'll have a question. And I'll literally just ask them the question back, but expect them to answer.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they come up with brilliance. They know exactly what they need. And here's the part 2 of that. Sometimes we, especially as women, are afraid to speak out loud or even to identify what we need because we're afraid we can't get it.
Yeah.
Or the thing that we know we want or need, we already know we can't have.
Yeah.
So let's just say, I don't know, I can't think of a great example, but it's almost like I'll actually, when people answer this question with me, they'll answer it, but they'll either they'll edit themselves or they'll literally cut themselves off.
Yeah.
And so I'll say, I know it's uncomfortable to identify something that you want or need that you don't have or you don't yet know how to get.
Yeah.
But I think we have to learn to live in the tension of making that declaration of, I need this or I want this. I think, there's different contexts that are correct. And then trust ourselves that we'll figure out how to go get ourselves what we need.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think answering our own questions and simplify them, right? Like, what do I need today?
Yeah.
We don't have to figure out this for the rest of our life, but really bringing it into today, this moment. And I think that can actually get us farther than we even realize.
100%. I love that. And as I even think about that in my own life, like I love how you're steering it back to our own intuition, right? Like our own sense of how can we get grounded in our soul, right? Like who we are, and letting that kind of guide us a little more than maybe we've allowed it to for a variety of different reasons. I know when I even reflect back on my own life and I'm thinking about what you're asking in this specific sense, it's almost this idea of really thinking through the conditioning that I've personally gone through and how I've, dumbed down different things in my own life, or I feel like I can't give myself permission to actually go into those places of saying out loud what it is that I want or what it is that I need. And I know in the work that I do with women, this is a block. This is a mental and emotional block that women experience because of so many different things. And so I love that you're pointing us back to ourselves and pointing us back to remembering that we really do have so much more inside of us as far as how we can guide ourselves into the next space of where we're meant to go or where we're called to go, et cetera. And so I love that, Kara. So good, my friend. So
one thing
good.
I want to add, because I'm sure you see this all the time, is that I think a lot of women people, but we're picking on women today. So I work with men too. But my heart's for women.
Yeah.
Is we get stuck at the all or nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, we won't do anything because we can't do all of it. So let's just say it's something simple, health related. I'm not going to eat healthy today because I know I'm going to go to a party tomorrow. I'm going to blow my diet or whatever, it's a simplification.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's actually so comical. And I think it's actually really helpful. I think when we look at actually what we're thinking, what we're doing, and like that actual setup that we have, that we look at it and we kind of laugh at ourselves in love, not in like judgment and meanness, but like, oh my gosh, this doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Like none at all. Like one of my clients was struggling with overwhelm. And so she's like, well, what do? I go up to my room and I watch 2 hours of Netflix. Because I'm overwhelmed. Yeah. So I avoid it all. And then I finish the Netflix and then I feel super stressed out and overwhelmed. Yeah. Get my act together, do the thing, and so on and so forth. And so we were like in like love, we were being like, it doesn't make sense. But we do things all the time that don't make sense. Yeah. And so that's why I think working with someone like you, I think like, I'm sure you see this all the time of like, okay, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. What's one small step? Yeah. And we underestimate actually, I think, small things, and also just like allowing ourselves to be with the possibility that like, we're not going to do it perfectly. Yeah. So just starting and being in that journey is so much better than doing any grandiose thing perfectly.
Yeah, so much better. And you hit the nail on the head, because we totally underestimate the power of really small changes or small things. And you spoke about this even in your journey when you were speaking about, what's helped you, like getting to that place of feeling, grounded in where you are, and getting to this place of feeling joy in your day in some capacity. And no matter what you're managing, like, what are you focusing on? It's the small things, and giving yourself grace to remember, like, it's never going to be this all or nothing perfect scenario where we get it all right and everything's changed. Like, that's just never going to be the reality. And so I just appreciate you calling that, Kara, because it's just important. It's imperative to remember on any kind of journey we're on as women, as parents, as moms, and so much more. So good. So good, my friend. Kara, will you quickly share how people can connect with you? I know you have a coaching community and a program. You're a life coach. You're online. You have your podcast. Talk a little bit about how people can find you online and connect more.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you want to say a quick hello, you can find me on Instagram at the Special Needs Mom Podcast. And if you're like, oh, hey, like she wasn't so bad to listen to, you can listen to my podcast at the Special Needs Mom Podcast on all major players. And I would say, hey, like connect, reach out, because what I've been really working deeply on is the next iteration of the coaching community that I currently have and am taking to the next level. So I'm actually going to be opening doors here very soon. And I'm really excited about it. I think I love, like, there's something more I love. I walk my dog in the morning and I just think about how to serve this community and like figure out how to make it work for us busy moms. And I think it's going to be a really amazing iteration. So I would love for people to connect.
Awesome, Kara. Thank you so much for your incredible perspective today. We'll make sure everything is linked in the show notes so you can find Kara's podcast and more about her coaching community and so much more. Kara, thanks again for everything. I am so grateful for you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I know balancing time and energy can be a challenge, and I'm so proud of you for listening in and investing in your wellness journey. I feel incredibly grateful to connect with you and for the opportunity to share more knowledge, stories, and encouragement related to all things wellness. I would love to hear how this podcast has served you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review on either iTunes or Spotify. Your support truly means the world to me and helps me reach more women just like you and me who are looking to transform their health from the inside out. Plus, when you share this episode with a friend, we invite more women in to learn alongside us. What a gift. Remember, knowledge is power, and the more we know, the better we can do. For ourselves, for our families, and our future. Well done on taking the step towards a healthier, happier you. Until next week, stay empowered and stay well.